Welcome to the Many Worlds Podcast. Listener discretion is advised. This anthology is a work of fiction. Any characters, events, and businesses have been fictionalized or completely fabricated. Any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, or actual events is purely coincidental, or happened in an alternate dimension.
The Khogene Imperium rules in blood and shadow. The Caligene stand against them, a brotherhood bound to living blades forged from the void. Owen St. Shadowsong, and Javier Morales, Vega, are two of the strongest the Order has ever seen. This is not their origin. It is just another chapter in their long war. Welcome to local demigods.
Adventures in time and space, told in future tense. Dimension X!
Local demigods. Whoa, oh, look at this tall black king, fucking Black Panther of the Northeast Side. Long time no see-o, Marcello said as Owen and Javier walked into the bar. Marcello's girl looked up from her iPhone. Katie had blue eyes and blonde hair, skin almost iridescent in the bar's neon beer signs. 5'4", and Owen could tell she and Marcello were already feeling pretty good. Katie looked like she was a nice, gracious person, but Owen had seen the drunken, belligerent asshole she could be. She wore a black top with a waistcut jean jacket that no one would ever seriously think could provide warmth, and Marcello wore a red and black Nike-fitted baseball cap and a Chicago Bulls jersey with a black baggy t-shirt. He had a pencil-thin mustache and a fresh haircut and a smirk that said, "I'm the man." You ever meet one of those couples that loved and hated each other in equal measure? Owen once asked Javier while they were on a break from training. He'd heard them once say the reason they were such messy Real Housewives of Gary, Indiana, was because he was Puerto Rican and she was Sicilian. Owen felt many Sicilians and Puerto Ricans would disagree. "What up, motherfucker? How the hell have you two been?" Owen said, putting on the affable mask he wore when on Earth. He wore a pair of black cargo pants, his always-present baseball cap, and a zip-up bomber jacket. He usually had a stoic air when on Altair, the space station where he lived. A stoic air and an attitude when pushed. But home was home, and it was good to be Clark Kent and not Superman. After all, there were different rules for someone like himself, Marcello and Javier. "Man, I was concerned after that hospital shit. That whole place burned down and you were MIA for months. I finally called your mom's, and she told me you were okay just working a new job." Marcello ordered another vodka and Red Bull. "Things got kinda strange. Then government people recruited me." Owen sighed like it was some boring story instead of a life-changing event that could very well change the nature of being conscious on this planet. Or at least that's the long sentence he used with his therapist back on the station. Of course, he could not tell his old friend anything about his new life. Let him go on living his ghetto, fabulous lifestyle, never knowing that out there in the inky black of space, there were cracks in the universe where jets of reality spray out for light years. Of course, he could never tell Marcello of the monsters and deities swimming the lanes between worlds. "No shit, homie," Marcello asked. "This short dude right here, this is my buddy Javier. We work for the same agency. Owen said, as his and Javier's two-hearted showed up at the table. Javier was wearing a green military surplus sweater with brown patches on the elbow and tan-colored dickies. He also smelled like some exotic cologne. He claims it helps attract the opposite sex of any sapient species. Owen called bullshit, but didn't have the heart to tell him. The scent actually was similar to Marcello's. House think alike. I noticed you sidestepped just what you'll do, Katie said, still showing her personable side. In 2 more drinks, she will either be crying, throwing up, or making out with some other chick for attention. Oh, the bars Marcello and Owen had pulled her out of, not to mention the cop cars and trap houses. We fight space aliens and ancient gods so that this planet can live in relative ignorance and oppress one another for no fucking reason. It's easier to let you go on paying taxes and jerking off your cousin than tell you the end of the world as we know it is coming. Owen smiled and flipped her the bird as she threw 2 fingers right back at him. Still a smart ass, oh. Marcello laughed, not believing Owen in the slightest. Don't forget the magic users and beings older than existence itself, Javier chimed in. Owen took a sip of his IPA, and it tasted like heaven. They didn't have IPAs on Altair. No, we're private contractors. We file reports and travel all over the world trying to stamp out governmental overspending. He lied. It was easy to lie when you knew no one would believe you. Well, there were the crackpots theorizing on the internet about what happened in West Michigan a few years ago. But who believes basement-dwelling neckbeards who have to order the extra-large tactical vest and get winded going up the stairs? Hell, if a Khogene battle cruiser descended from the sky, half the population of Earth would just look up and go back to whatever it is they were doing. That sounds incredibly dull, Katie said. The hours are long, but the sights are glamorous, Javier said. See, that's what's up, oh. I always knew you were too good to keep working in surgery. With them lazy-ass nurses. You know what we need to celebrate. Let's do shots, baby, Marcello said. He and Katie started bouncing in their seats as they signaled the bartender again. Owen wasn't so sure about the whiskey they ordered, but when in Rome and shots are offered, do the damn shots. It took his mind off what would happen when they left the planet again. The night went on like that. Them talking about old times and laughing. Townies came in to watch the Red Wings, and the bar got crowded and rowdy. More people came in smelling of weed or other forms of intoxication. Not my business, he thought. Owen and Javier could handle a lot more alcohol than a normal human because of their Caligene physiology and the alien entity bounded with them. It processed the world differently for them. It absorbed pheromones and ambient neutrinos passing through the earth faster than light. After shots, Katie saw some friends in the dark back corner of the bar and went to talk to them. She was gesticulating wildly while some of her friends compared cup sizes. After about 5 minutes, the entire group of women started staring at Javier and smiling or whispering things in one another's ears. Owen always thought the mating habits of sapient beings were fascinating. He had a saying that if you take away the lust and hormones out of sex, and it's pretty fucking stupid and funny. Many worlds ran on the circuit, frying, delusion-inducing power of love. Owen was not immune. It was a source of constant consternation. Getting close to a woman wasn't in the cards for him anymore. Who could tolerate his commitment to duty and freedom? Flying off to investigate the very strange and dangerous. I think they are playing my tune. I told you this damn cologne works, chump. I'm gonna go say hi, Javier said, waving. Owen snorted. He'd always joked that if someone wanted to assassinate Lieutenant Javier Morales, just send a pretty woman. Wanna have a smoke? Marcello said, moving towards the front door with the large window, looking out on the west side street, illuminated by amber street lights, and the McDonald's across the street. Owen was reminded of the John Cougar Mellencamp song, Ain't That America? He'd been gone a while, and the more he changed, the more things on Earth stayed the same, or got worse. Outside in the cold, Owen bummed a smoke off Marcello. For real though, you've been okay, brother. You seemed even more distant than usual right now. Yeah, man, just a lot on my mind. Seen a lot of shit lately, and I'm not sure how to process. How about you, homeboy? Got my license back. Then it got suspended again after I didn't take a driver's class, working at the factory still. I get passed by every dude that walks through the door. You know how it is for the darker persuasion, my melanated peoples. Marcello laughed and smacked Owen's shoulder. He nodded and smiled back. He truly knew how it was. Grand Rapids was a melting pot, but the chocolate stayed at the bottom. Owen's pocket vibrated, and Marcello pulled out his phone too. Owen noticed his smile and knew immediately it was trouble for his old high school buddy. There was a message from KC, a genius and resident of Altair. It was a logistics report about troop movements. The battle for the planet was getting hot. Still, he wasn't going to cut his vacation short to go save a planet, knowing that he might be lying to himself. "Who's that?" Owen put away his handset, breathing out the smoke and jumping slightly to stay warm in the cold. Marcello turned his phone towards Owen, and it was the smiling face of Emerson, M for short. Owen wasn't sure if she was topless because the picture was cut off. "You are still fucking M? That's the dumbest shit I ever heard," Owen said. "Troop deployments and logistics are completely gone. He's transported back to his 20s. Dog, she's still got it. I cannot help myself. Wait, aren't you engaged and she's fucking married? Didn't that bitch call you a spick? Man, if Katie finds out, she's gonna burn your house and fuck your dad." The memory of Katie and Marcello yelling at one another, with Owen trapped in the back seat. It was raining as they drove home from Ann Arbor. They'd gone to see a Bright Eyes show. It was fantastic, but he'd gotten a little too tipsy off the drinks and atmosphere. Katie and Marcello were fighting, and Owen was checked out until they started yelling. "Why the fuck can't you hear that? I said fucking sorry, bitch. I took you to the motherfucking concert. We had a good time. Now we're almost home. Why can't you act right in front of my boy? I swear white trash can't change," Marcello yelled. "You fuck that stupid bitch and all you can say is sorry? Oh baby, I love you. I'm fucking sorry I can't live without you and the kids. You're right, asshole. You are sorry, and a goddamned liar." Marcello pulled up next to her house. "Get the fuck out, you dumb bitch." That's when Katie ripped the car key out of the ignition and hopped out of the car, screaming obscenities in the front yard. "You know what, Katie? Give me my keys," Marcello yelled, and took out his phone. "What are you gonna do, Marcello?" "Call the cops. Go ahead, you know who they're gonna take to jail," Katie said, laughing. Owen often wondered after that if she knew how racist that sounded, or if she even cared. Coming back to the present, Owen looked Marcello in the eyes. "All right, motherfucker, good luck with that shit. I'm gonna get a drink. You shouldn't smile at your phone like that. It's obvious who you're talking to." 15 minutes later, almost like clockwork, Marcello and Katie got into an argument about the way he and one of her friends looked at each other outside while smoking. Honestly, the girl was trying to flirt with him, so that meant that Katie should drunkenly make a scene in the bar. She tossed a drink on her friend, a girl wearing a white tank top. Owen watched the entire thing in mild fascination. "Bye, guys," Owen yelled over their shouting. "Peace out, homie. Hit you up tomorrow." Marcello threw up the peace sign. "Fuck you, Owen," Katie drunkenly shouted. "Good to see you too, Katie. Drink some water." "Why you gotta talk to my boy like that?" They continued fighting as they walked out the door. "Fucking trash," Owen heard one townie say. He assumed they were referring to Marcello and Katie. He saddled up to the bar. Javier was getting a woman in a blue dress's phone number. Eventually, he zoned out, looking through the eyes of his Kirey Shadowsong. It was like an echolocation bouncing through everyone and everything. The sphere of perception it provided allowed Owen to see for miles in all directions. Through stone, steel, and water, waves like radar bouncing through the fabric of reality. "Man, those two should not be together," Javier said. "Exactly. I've been saying that for 12 years. Funny, the more you try to tell them to leave, the harder they fight to stay together. Life is like that sometimes. Codependency is better than being alone for some people," Owen said. "Oh, I know the type. Makes you really wonder. After all the shit, we've seen how there is still whole populations ignorant to how pointless their fighting one another is," Javier said. "Meh, some people just gotta fight. Born short and ornery. It goes doubly if they've been drinking Red Bull and vodka. Shit is like being on cocaine. Hell, there is no guarantee those two weren't also doing lines before we got here." Marcello's heart rate was pretty high. Besides all them, things claiming to be higher beings are just cosmic noise, shadows of universes long forgotten. No way there is a larger game being played that we aren't privy to, Javier countered. It always feels like a bigger fucking game, bro. If there is one, I don't want shit to do with it. We got our hands full. I'm focused on the war we both know is coming. Owen drank from his two-hearted. He wanted to come home for a vacation from all the big question shit, walk underneath familiar skies, yet he felt more like a stranger, out of place. All I'm saying is heaven and hell are real mofo. Aren't you curious? Javier said. Not really. There is curious, then there is suicidal. What myths have you heard involving gods where the mortal gets a happy ending? Owen stared off into the distance, sipping his beer. He realized he was staring at the hockey game. There was a fight on the ice. The game was getting aggressive, just like the drunk white guys across the bar. They were obnoxiously yelling at the large, flat-screen television. Dude, we saw a spaceship made by gods, then an entire solar system just disappeared, and you just shrugged that shit off? Owen scowled. I'm interested, especially with the Bedouin tribes looking for more artifacts like that, but I am not joining any bullshit Looney Tunes religion, because there's shit I can't explain. I stopped talking to my imaginary friends in grade school. I don't see them as gods. I see them as powerful alien entities that are godlike. There is a difference. Hey, do you know what the children of Adam call us? Children of the gods. They say people like us are literal demigods. But yes, please go on, said with the fervor of a true cynic. Godlike power and an actual god is the same thing in my book. I admire the mental fortitude it takes to not be impressed by anything. Well, you can be all stoic and shit, but it makes me nervous. I hate knowing there is that type of power and there isn't anything we can do, Javier said. I said it's interesting, but it's a non-issue for me. I'm more concerned with 1 million Khogene ships burning their way across the multiverse. The Red Wings scored a goal. The bar erupted in cheers. Owen sat there, unimpressed. Hockey wasn't a sport he was into. Hell yeah, Coop you my nigga, one townie yelled. He threw a glance over at Owen and murmured something to his companions. They all snickered, and the only African-American patron in the establishment felt certain that they must be making jokes about him. He sighed, wondering to himself why he's so nostalgic for home sometimes. It sucks when you love a place that has never loved you back. Shadowsong sent a pulse through the bar. Grand Rapids looked different to him, seeing it through the creature he was bonded with. Owen took a sip of his beer and looked away from the group of local boys. When did I stop feeling like a local? Owen wondered. God, you weren't kidding about the racist shit, huh? No, I was not. Sometimes I think Katie likes to come here for the subtle racist vibe, but the drinks are cheap, Owen said slowly, taking in the room. Everyone had heard what the townie said, yet no one seemed bothered. So damn primitive. Javier stared at the group of townies. No shit, right? This is what I'm fighting to protect. I love this place, but it will never love me back. I'm a glutton for punishment. Owen smirked. Besides, primitive is Earth 7. As I recall, you went native there when I found you. Several wives. You're still married, right? Yeah. Turns out you marry every woman in the orgy. Funny, 'cause divorce isn't really a concept there either. It was more like fight the warriors of the clan until they convince you to stay in the relationship or they kill you. So I opted to stay hitched. I broke a few arms and legs before I came to that enlightened conclusion that I was going to have to die to get out of the situation. Javier chuckled. A spick and a nigger leap off a bridge. Who wins? Society, said the drunken townie with a Michigan State baseball cap and a green North Face fleece on. The group of white guys erupts in laughter, with looks in Owen and Javier's direction. Owen stares. So, a black man, an Asian, and a white guy all rob a bank. They get killed in a shootout and instantly go to hell. The devil shows up out of flames and demands they pay for their sins. Devil goes up to the Asian guy, lifts his flaming hand, and chops off his dick. He then goes up to the white guy, does the same. Finally, he goes up to the black guy and tries to cut his dick off. Chop. Nothing happens. He tries again, and still nothing happens. The devil asks, "Why can't I chop off your dick?" Black guy smiles and says, "Chocolate melts in your mouth, not in your hand," Owen said, and Javier erupted into laughter. And they both stared at the group of white men, laughing at them. "What the fuck does that mean?" said Michigan State fan. "Look, dude, this is just going to escalate, and for real, You and your boys don't want this smoke, Javier said, trying to be reasonable. A nigger walks into a bar and starts some trouble when the upstanding white guys check him about it. The nigger pulls out a knife. White guys laugh and say, "Stupid spook, don't you know? Never bring a knife to a gunfight," said Michigan State Cap. And one guy at the bar flexed his muscles and growled in Owen and Javier's direction. "You don't mind if he says the N-word, right?" "Course you don't. You guys say it all the time, or should I have said nigga?" said the guy, flexing his muscles. He was wearing shorts in the wintertime. Why people did that boggled Owen's mind. "My friend is the silent type, but he's like a rattle," Javier tried to warn, but got cut off. On the roof of a very tall building are 4 men. One is Asian, one is Mexican, one is black, and the last one is white. The Asian walks to the ledge and says, "This is for all my people," and jumps off the roof. Next, the Mexican walks to the ledge and also says, "This is for all my people." Then he jumps off the roof. Next is the black guy's turn. The black guy walks to the ledge and says, "This is for all my people," and then throws the white guy off the roof. Owen glared at the group of white men who looked at each other. "What's good, y'all?" Javier stood and Owen stayed sitting. "You guys need to calm down or leave." The bartender with a rat tail and a Red Wings jersey said to Javier and Owen, "Are you kidding? You hear these motherfuckers talking?" Javier asked incredulously. "Get the fuck out of my fucking face. I'll leave when I'm good and goddamn ready," Owen said to the bartender. "If that's how you want it," the bartender said, picked up the phone behind the bar. "This is going to get interesting." Javier said, "Yup, there is trash everywhere we go. Can you believe I try so hard to defend this place?" "What did you say, faggot?" Ballcap. "He said instead of fucking your mother's gutter snatch, he shit in her cunt, and 9 months later you came out," Javier said. A man hurled a beer bottle at Javier. Javier caught it and slammed it onto the ground with a loud smash. The 6 men rushed Owen and Javier. One swung a bar stool at Owen. He raised his right hand and punched through the stool, breaking it into pieces. He then front-kicked the attacker in his sternum and sent him flying over a high-top table. Javier brought down a hammer chop to a man's collarbone. Hearing the snap, he put a knee deep into his stomach, then dodged several punches from 2 of his friends. They didn't notice Owen. As he tossed the Michigan State hat guy into his friends, the bar devolved into a free-for-all. Outside, red and blue lights flashed through the bar's front windows. Michigan State hat ran at Owen again, pushing patrons out of his way. Owen used the man's momentum and tossed him through the glass window. His Kirey, wrapped around his arm, tingled, sending out a pulse like sonar. In his mind, he saw an ultraviolet and blue image of cop cars pulling up and a third a few feet away. He looked over his shoulder and saw the bartender coming at Javier's head with a baseball bat. "Heads up!" Owen shouted. Javier turned and caught the baseball bat in mid-swing, then head-butted the bartender in the face. Owen could hear the crunch of his nose breaking and smirked, having no sympathy. Owen sighed and stepped out of the shattered window. Javier followed, but took the door. Over his shoulder, he could hear moans and groans from the fallen townies. The police already had guns drawn, and before they could say anything, the Michigan State fan rushed Owen, blood leaking from a cut on his face. Owen put some of his strength into the punch, rocking the man in the stomach. Owen heard him gasp for air, then drop. The cops, their guns drawn and pointed at the suspect, barked orders. "Put your hands above your head now." The intensity of their demands echoed through the alley. Javier and Owen glanced at each other, then locked eyes with the police officer. A slow smile spread across their faces as they burst into laughter. "No," Owen said. "Stop resisting." Owen took in the cops before the gunshot interrupted his train of thought. Instinctively, he dove out of the way and felt as if everything was happening in slow motion. Javier put up a gravimetric force field to block an onslaught of bullets from every direction. The bullets stopped, but the wave hit the cops and their cars, and the one closest to the bar went flying towards the McDonald's across the street. Owen saw the car careen towards the packed restaurant and acted quickly, his Kirey Shadowsong coiled around his right arm as it glowed bright blue. He shot a beam of energy at the car, which detonated in response. Small automotive pieces rained all over the McDonald's parking lot. Owen snapped a scowl at Javier. "Oops." Javier put his hands to his mouth. Owen rushed the cops, who were staring at the wreck of the patrol car. They all were wearing Kevlar vests, but they couldn't stand up to the blows and the speed with which Owen and Javier rained on them. Being Caligene made them stronger than average humans. Javier put one cop's head through a patrol car window. Owen broke another knee, then roundhoused another in the chest, and heard all the air escape his lungs. Owen stood over the cop. "You fucking shoot at me without knowing what the fuck was going on. Bitch, I ought to cut your fucking head off," Owen yelled. The blonde-haired cop with the flat top shouted, "Please, I was so scared for my life." His face was pale and eyes were wide as he pleaded. "Do you have any idea how dangerous that was?" Owen shouted. "You had no way of knowing if I was unarmed or not, or if I was the one being attacked in that bar." Just then, his comm device beeped loudly in his ear. "Shadowsong here," he answered. "Hey, Dickface, this is KC. What are you doing?" "Yeah, Dickface gave you away. What's up?" "I'm just finishing up a bar fight that spiraled out of control." "We need you in the field right now. I know this will only feed your massive ego. The fight on Isala 4 took a turn for the worse, and we require your special brand of kick-ass," KC said. "So call in one of the Special Forces units and I'll get back to base after R&R, Owen said. He looked over and saw Javier was lecturing a cop, and further down the street more sirens and lights were on the way. His line made another beep and Owen checked his handset in his pocket. He opened it and saw a blurry satellite photo. It showed a bunch of Bedouin soldiers decked out in armor. In the center was a tall man in a trench coat and Stetson hat, Tobin Carlyle. Owen's anger spiked again. "Leaving Earth now. Send all the data to the ship's computer. Casualty list and all the geographic data. Let's start there. We'll meet for a briefing in 3 hours at Altair Standard." Affirmative, Shadowsong. A battle group will be waiting in the Taurus cluster in 4 hours, so you need to do a high-speed burn, KC said and clicked off. Owen pressed the button on his handset, and a vessel called the Reaper came alive in Highland Park and flew towards him. "Let me tell you something, officer. You saw some bad stuff today. This is my city, my world, hell, my galaxy. Gunning down another black man isn't the way to fix anything. You're a shit cop, and I can't stand cops like you. So I need to go, but eventually I'll be back. You need to quit being a cop, or else something awful is going to happen to you. You can't do this job anymore," Owen said, followed by ripping the badge off of his uniform. His right hand shimmered a bright blue, while the badge dissolved and the police officer's eyes widened with terror. "What's up?" Javier asked. "Carlyle, Isala 4, knew they were going to need us. It's getting nasty there," Javier said. The Reaper descended from the night sky. The thick black smoke parted like a curtain opening to reveal a large wedge-shaped ship, its hull a masterpiece made by the engineers at Altair. It looked like a black bird of prey hovering above the cracked Grand Rapids blacktop. A bright blue light emanated from the inside as the ramp lowered. Owen and Javier stood in front of it, surrounded by the wreckage of their battle with the police officers. They walked up the boarding ramp, Owen strapped into the cockpit, starting the charge for the grid drive so they could jump as soon as the vessel broke the atmosphere. Then, with a roar, the engines screamed to life, and the ship hovered up into the sky before thrusting away towards the horizon. "I think the one you yelled at shit his pants." Javier started laughing. Owen laughed and shook his head. "I for sure broke ribs, bro."
Fiery horse with the speed of light, a cloud of dust, and a hearty Hi-Yo Silver, the Lone Ranger.
Thanks for listening to Local Demigods, part of the Many Worlds Podcast. You can catch us at themanyworldspodcast.com, and we're also on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and just about anywhere else you get your shows. We'll see you in the next world. As always, don't look behind you.